Hello, beautiful people of YouTube. We're back for another episode. And this week, we're going to talk about periods because it's period week. At least for Nicole and I, it's period week. And I wanted to talk about how, everybody says if you hang out with someone like a chick, a girlfriend, period sync, right? So everybody says that, and I just thought it would be a fun topic to just chat about.
Yeah,
Um, so our period started syncing.
yeah.
Like how long? Like how long? How many
I
months did that
It
happen?
didn't take very long for our periods to sync. I feel like it was like one episode we did and then boom, our period.
Yeah, it's been a few. I feel like it's been a few months. Yeah, and then you got your period three days ago,
I got my
2 days
period.
ago on
Today's
Tuesday.
Thursday. I got it on Tuesday.
You see, I was supposed to get mine on Tuesday too.
I thought that was really interesting.
And all of a sudden, like we've fallen off the sync because I'm like
I
2 days
know, I'm so
late
sad.
now. So weird. But like I was looking up on YouTube and on Google just to see if I can come up with something, something to back it up. But like all the videos pretty much just say the same thing on YouTube. Like it's a myth, it's not scientifically backed up. There has been research to
Mhm.
know I guess good because it hasn't been able to back up. I guess whatever research has been made hasn't actually backed up the sinking of the period. So that's weird because I thought for sure I was gonna find something about how and why.
Yeah, because even my boss will say like, "Oh, my period's due in 2 days," and I'm like, "Oh my God, my period's due in like a few days." Like, and she was like, "Yeah, that's a legit thing. Our periods will end up syncing." And then before I went on my weekend, I was like, "Oh my God, I just started my period," and she's like, "Well, I guess that means my period's gonna come in a few days too." So I just feel like there. How does it not how is there not research shown that our periods, how is this not like proven? Because
Right.
I feel like a lot of girls go through that, and they could all testify
Yeah.
that like, yeah, it happens to us too.
The only video I saw, and I'll like link this video down in the description for anybody that wants to watch it. Actually, I'll link all the videos that I watched in the description just so you guys can watch them. But the one video that I thought was really helpful is this guy, or I don't know if he's a doctor, it could be, I don't know. But he was talking about how it might depend, like the reason why our periods sync could be depending on how many days our particular cycle is. So like each woman has a different cycle. Like for example, there's he said that the average cycle is 28 days for some women. For others, it could be like 30 or 31. And so
Oh.
depending on that, I guess, cycle, like if you're like 28 days and I'm like 30, we won't always sync, but we're going to eventually get to a point where we are syncing. So that's what he explained. I thought it was really interesting. So I'll put that in the description because so you could watch it. But it was pretty interesting. So
That makes
depending
sense.
depending on how many days your entire like cycle is.
Yeah, I don't really know. Okay, you know what? I need to educate myself more on this. How do I not know this stuff? I've had my period since I was like 11 or 12, but I've never actually done the research on my cycle, and
Right.
like
Uh,
it was just like a thing that like, oh yeah, I'm gonna get my period, this means I'm a woman now, blah blah blah, here I go, I'm gonna cry and I'm gonna eat cookies and I'm gonna eat pizza and I'm gonna veg out. But as I've gotten older, I've done so much more research, especially because of PMDD. Have you heard of that?
um, is it like a more serious version of PMS? I think you've told me about. I think we have talked about this before.
Yeah, PMDD is like a syndrome, premenstrual depression dysphoria. So it's like our PMS, but times 10.
Hmm.
And I remember like experiencing some of that right during my period. And even some of the episodes of depression I've gotten were like on my period. So I've like, as I've gotten older,
Yeah.
I'm like so much more conscious of like, okay, what does this mean? What do I need to do to help my uterus as it's shedding? What food should I be eating?
Hmm.
Yesterday, I tried to stay away from caffeine. I was like, okay, I'm not going to have any caffeine.
It's
Because
so
they,
hard.
yeah, because they say like on your period, like avoid caffeine. So I made sure to have turmeric tea with lemon yesterday morning. And I'm like feeling all healthy. And I'm like, yes, I'm doing something good for my body. But then a headache started to happen. And I get to work and I'm just like, I have a headache. I have a headache. This is a caffeine headache. I already know it. I went and I got coffee. I kid you not. In about like 5 minutes after drinking it, I felt so much better.
That happens to me too. It's a real thing. Yeah, I can't, like, unless I'm having really, really bad stomach issues, like I'm having a flare up or something and I need to stop drinking coffee, then I'll do it and I'll still miss it even though like I'm in pain. But as soon as I get like that first sip of coffee in the morning, yeah, it's hard
Yeah.
for me to not drink coffee. Unless like also if I'm having going through a really bad like anxiety episode, and then anxiety tends to be higher during periods, so it's hard.
Yeah. So how do you manage that? Like, what do you do to help manage your anxiety on your period?
Oh, it's really hard because when I'm not on my period, I try to stay like active. And it's really
Yeah.
hard because when I'm on my period, I don't want to do a thing. I just want to be like in leggings or in sweatpants and just not do anything at home. And I know that a lot of people are like, no, like that's worse if you're just like not doing anything. But like parts of me is like, I need this right now.
Yeah.
Like it is okay to just go through the emotions, I guess. Learn how to go through the emotions. But I don't really have anything set in place for when I feel that way. I think
No.
if you follow me on Instagram, you probably know already that I smoke weed. So I do smoke, but I do that even when I'm not on my period anyway. Um,
Mm,
it's helpful because it helps with anxiety. Like it won't have me like pacing my room back and forth or like frustrated because like when I'm on my period and I just feel so angry and sad at the same time for no freaking reason. And it's like driving
yeah.
me crazy because it's like, why do I feel this way? And then you're like, oh wait, then you're like, oh, I'm on my period, right? Like, oh gosh.
So something that I just discovered, I'm all about my teas and trying to fight off negative thinking the super healthy way. And I've come across ashwagandha tea,
Whoa.
and I heard about that from my brother about a year ago. And I remember he was like, oh my God, I feel so high when I'm on it. And as soon as he said that, I was just like, nope, I'm not going to try it. Weed is my trigger, actually. I get anxiety when I smell it. But I was in like a depression episode earlier in May, and they were like, I went to Sprouts. I'm like, I need something and I need something quick. And they were like, ashwagandha. So it literally just if you're in a depression, it takes the edge off, my experience. But on Saturday, I was at work. I'm like, I know I'm going to start my period. I'm starting to get anxious, starting to have these anxious thoughts. My fight or flight is
Yeah.
kind of high. And I was just thinking, like, no, you're going to go to swing. You're going to go swing dancing. Nothing is going to stop you. So I went and I bought some ashwagandha tea, and girl, it's like a body high. It's all
Asha
natural.
Ashawanda?
Ashwagandha.
Ashla. Okay, you're gonna have to text it to me or like send me an Instagram link or something. I want to look
I'm
into
all
this
like, I
thing.
feel like I'm promoting this because I've been telling everybody like about this damn tea. There's also pill form. Um, and it literally just like it zones you out. I learned, okay, I can't do this when I'm at work because I'm just too mellow. I'm just like, yeah, uh-huh. Like it's just, but it helps. It helps. My mind wasn't racing. I just felt super calm. My body was super relaxed. So I'm starting to get into the habit now. Every month, if I get anxious, which happens every month, I'm going to go to that.
Oh, I need to look into that. That sounds really interesting. I like teas and stuff, so I will definitely look into it.
Yeah, no, and it's actually really good for us women too. It boosts our immune system.
Cool.
Mm-hmm.
So I was going to ask you,
Mm-hmm.
because this is one part of my little period research that I didn't look into, like zodiac signs and moon alignments.
Oh,
Like, do you know anything about that? Do you know what zodiac sign you are?
yeah, I do. I used to be really into this stuff when I was like in high school. Um, I'm a Libra.
Libra. What month is that?
September, the end of September going into October is a Libra. And a Leo is like the end of August going into September. And
Okay.
for some reason, yeah. So I'm a Libra. What about yourself?
Taurus.
Taurus, Taurus, Taurus. Okay. Honestly, I only know about my own sign.
Me too. Like I've met people that are like, "Oh, when's your birthday?" I'm like, "Oh, May 3rd." "Oh my gosh, you're a Taurus? Oh my God, you're like this and you're like that." And I was like, "I
And
don't
but is it
know.
true? Is what they're saying like pretty accurate or no?
I think it's pretty accurate. That's what makes it fun, right?"
I know, right?
I think it's like I never like believed in any of that stuff, but I've always thought it was something fun, just just for fun.
Yeah.
I don't like believe it 100%, but it's fun because like Tauruses are stubborn and like all this stuff and I'm just like, wow, like it describes me. Or
That's
like
so
reading the
funny.
horoscopes like once a month or so, you're like reading it and it says things that could be you. Like it kind of does describe you, right?
Yeah, no, yeah. I feel like my sign actually really describes me. Like Libras tend to be somebody who's all about like physical appearance and the aesthetic of stuff. I'm just like, oh my
Oh,
God, that's so me. Libras like to be not center of attention, but they kind of do. And I'm an extrovert. So I need to be in a crowded place. I need to, and that is my personality where some people think like, okay, center of attention. I just think it has to do with me being extroversion. But yeah, I actually think my sign describes me pretty well. Whether
I'm
it's,
gonna
I mean, it's
I'm
not
gonna
really
Google right
something
now.
to quote unquote believe in. It's just more so like, I don't know. Some people, I mean, but like moon alignment, I'm not too like well versed in that.
Hmm. Me either. I just completely forgot to like do that little research part because I wanted to look it up and I just totally forgot.
I wonder if Tauruses and Libras get along well. We have to look
Okay,
into that as friendship.
I just Googled are Libras and Taurus. That's what I was typing, and then good friends came up. So I just clicked on it. They're both great at compromise and keeping the peace.
Hmm.
Overall, a friendship between a Taurus and a Libra seems to have lasting power, but their differences will need to be confronted at some point.
What are our differences?
I don't know. So far, I've only seen things that we have in common.
Hmm. Are you
I'm sure, I mean, yeah, we have differences, but like I haven't like major differences. I haven't really, yeah. Can you think of any?
are you really proactive with like mental health stuff?
I like to be because I struggle with my own mental health.
Yeah.
So I like to talk about it. I like to learn about it, and I feel like the more we talk about it, the more people are like less scared to find help, I guess, because people are like people don't want to talk about their mental health, I think, especially like our culture, like Latinos, and
Oh.
I've heard, I think like I forgot who. I don't remember if it was like an Asian friend of mine or a black friend of mine who was talking about how they in their culture it's the same as Latinos, like there's kind of still like a stigma to mental health and stuff like that.
So did that affect you at all?
What?
The stigma around it.
Oh, does it affect me? Yeah, it does. Like I remember this one time, um, I text my family group, like all my aunts, my mom's sisters, and my cousins, their daughters were in a WhatsApp group.
Yeah.
They all live in Mexico, and except for my mom and I, of course. And I text them. I sent them a message. I don't know if it was earlier. I think it was earlier this year or late last year. It had to be during the winter because during the winter months, I just get really, really depressed. And I just sent them a message, like very casually in Spanish. I was just like, hey, like, I didn't want to say anything before, but, I've been really depressed and I've been feeling like this and like that. And I guess my mom must have seen it or something. And she just called me and she's like, what are you depressed about? Like, oh, like, we all love you. Like, so are you over it now? Just because,
No.
just because people in the group were saying nice things. Like she thought that was like an automatic fix type of thing. Like she thinks it's something that could just go away like in a second or something. I
Mm.
don't know. It was just so weird the way she like said that to me. Like it just kind of felt like get over it. Like
Yeah.
you're sad about nothing or and it's frustrating because you know how it is when you're feeling depressed. Like you don't want to be depressed, but you feel it. And you have no freaking idea why. You want it to go away, but you have absolutely no idea how because you don't even know why you're feeling.
Right. Yeah. I totally get that. And I feel okay. So I do sense that our cultures are a bit different. I don't really feel like I have a Hispanic culture or
Mm,
heritage. I come from more, I feel like if I were to say, like, oh, like the culture I came from was more like Christian culture, that was what I came from, not necessarily my race or, yeah. But like, even within that realm, and things are getting better and things are altering in that sense, but therapy was not really something my parents was like all gun-ho about. And I remember at like in my 20s, I'm like, I'm gonna see therapist. I'm gonna see therapist because I got stuff to talk about and I got stuff on my chest. And I tried going to the church about it, but I already knew what they were gonna say. And this isn't me like trying to put down my faith at all, but when I was going through my first experience with depression and anxiety and panic attacks and dissociation and depersonalization, if you know what those are.
oh
uh,
yeah. It happens
okay.
to me. It happens to me like all the time.
Really?
I mean, I kid you not, like dissociation, is that the one where like you just your surroundings or is it depersonalization? I confuse them. The
It's one
one,
of them is like you're watching yourself but you're not, and then the other one is like everything just feels like a dream, but
so which one is that one? The second one? Is
I
that
think just
dissociation?
dissociation.
So that happens to me at least once a week while driving too. It happens a lot when I'm driving. It happens a lot. Like if I've been at home for a while and I haven't been out, like if I decide to go out for a walk after like a week of not leaving my house, I'll I start getting like that. And I think it's like the anxiety that I like getting like, and it's just so weird. I thought it was something that everybody experienced. I thought it was a normal thing.
See, I thought I wasn't normal when I first experienced it. I was like,
Well,
what the heck
that's
is
the
happening?
sad part. The sad part is that it happens to me so often. Like to me, like that has been happening to me as far as I can remember. Like even
Oh, okay.
like probably even like in childhood, I can, it probably started happening to me. So to me, I was like, oh, that's something that happens to everybody, like, doesn't that happen to everybody? You get in the car and you're driving, then you arrive and you don't even know how it happened. That happens to everybody, right? It's normal.
Interesting. Yeah, I experienced that my first time experienced that I was 28. And I went to church with my mom because I didn't know what was happening. And then their first instinct, the first thing that came out of their mouth was like, well, let's just pray over you. And they did. And then right off the bat, it's like, you feel better now, right? And I'm
Oh,
like,
I hate,
no, I'm still in it. Like,
yeah.
and even if I go through a depression, please don't say, let me pray for you, because you can pray for me, but I'm still going to be in it because I don't know how I'm supposed to get out. And I'm well aware now that it tends to last for about 6 days. So we got to wait until the 6 days is done because there's something medical and there's like the chemicals are just not there right now.
So
So
it'll be that long for you? Like you'll feel
I'm
that
sorry.
way? You will feel that dissociation for that long, like for days long?
I don't experience dissociation anymore. I experienced it at 28 for about a week and then it went into 3 months of depression.
That is so weird.
I haven't experienced it since then. Let me knock on wood if there's any
I
wood
know.
around here. But but like the depression episode for me, the longest is 6 days. And then it goes away. But then the second week is like, what the hell was I just in? I'm so sad for myself. I don't know
Hmm.
what happened. I don't know why. And I need help. And at this point in my life, I am now seeking as much help as I can because it's happened 2 weeks so far this year, and that's just too long to me.
Yeah.
So, like, I totally get what you're saying in regards to like people maybe like just not understanding or the culture you come from not understanding or it affecting you because I like this last episode, I went to certain people and they were like, well, you know what? Let me just pray for you. And I'm like, or they'll send me a scripture. And I'm like, these scriptures aren't working. I'm not saying that our faith doesn't work, but when you're having thoughts, a scripture isn't always going to just help or take it away. Like, this is something that I have to figure out why my brain is not producing enough happy chemicals and do my due diligence at making
Yeah.
sure that my brain produces the right amount of happy chemicals. That's what I believe God would want me to do.
Yeah,
So,
definitely. I think if anything, they should be praying that you find the answer to this, right? Because
yeah,
things don't just happen miraculously, they might, and I'm sure it have in the past or to some people. But yeah, sometimes prayer can shine the light on finding answers.
yeah. And it's interesting because in my last experience, like I thought of Job in the Bible and how he had leeches all over his body and he was suffering. I felt like, okay, this guy went through something similar. Like I'm going through something similar. Like,
Dude,
unfortunately, this,
everything happened to him. Everything. Like he got illnesses. His wife died. His kids died, all of them. And oh yeah, that is a crazy story. But
Mhm.
it's these stories are encouraging. The problem is how do we remember those stories when we're going through depression? Like, how do we
Yeah,
remember, like, I'm sorry, like, call me a bad Christian or whatever, but if I'm going through depression or I'm going through an anxiety attack, I'm not going to remember to pray in that moment. I'm sorry. Because
right?
my like it's just you don't feel good. Like you don't even remember that that's a choice when you're
Exactly.
in that moment.
Like me now, I'm like, oh, I'm having some anxiety. I'm gonna go make myself some tea. But in that moment, I'm not really thinking, okay, I got to make sure I have my tea. I got to make sure I'm doing all my stuff that I can. The only thing that I can do is just write. And it is kind of like a release. Or I'll play like some really sad songs and I cry it out, or I dance to it, or I have gone on social media. Like that last episode, I was starting to post just how I felt. And in a way, it was almost like a cry for help, but it also made me feel good to just like, no, I need to be real right now. I need to put this out there. It,
Yeah.
even though I'm like, I'm so sad that I'm typically really happy. And like, how could I be going through this? You know, I don't know, but
Oh, it's
yeah,
telling me we have 10 minutes remaining. I don't know why.
that never happens to us. How dare Zoom do that?
I know, like I get it. We're on running on a free account, but please, it's only the two of us.
I know that never happens to us other times.
Oh gosh, I guess we should like do final thoughts. Periods and depression. I think it's a thing. So like if we're feeling sad on our periods, we shouldn't feel too bad about it. I
Yeah.
think if we want to spend the week in our sweatpants, like so be it. Let's
Yeah.
do it.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think too, like not being afraid to say what you might be going through mentally and
For
psychologically.
sure. Yeah.
Because there's
And
actually
it's
a lot of people,
helpful.
yeah, because a lot of people have experienced depersonalization.
Mhm.
Like I went to group therapy because of that. So it's a thing. And I'm actually really happy that the Christian church is being mindful of mental health because
Mental
I've
health.
seen, yeah, different like Christian therapists and different accounts are now like talking about it. And
That's great.
mhm, it's just fine. And also finding like a support system.
Yeah. My husband's always like, why are you talking about this on social media? You think people actually care that you're saying this or that? And not specifically
Really?
like my mental health, but like anything in general. And I always tell him, like, you know what? Like, I don't care. Like, I know who watches my stuff on social media, and, I know who cares and who might not. But at the
Hmm.
same time, like, someone might just watch something and be like, dang, like this is something that I'm going through, and
Yeah.
I didn't think that anybody else was going through it. And that's how I feel when I come across like accounts or people that are struggling with things, and
Right.
it feels good to have someone else to talk to about it, or just to know that you're not the only one struggling.
Yeah, exactly. Because it just, we're all, and it's hard to even for me to even like remember this, like when I'm like in a depression episode, but like, and it's still hard for me to even like accept the fact that I go through them, but like we're all going through something. Like,
Mm,
and some people are afraid sometimes, I think, to even say what they might be experiencing because they don't know, or they're like, at least to me, I'm just like, in the beginning, I was like, I can't talk to anybody. They're going to put me away. They're going to 5150 me.
yeah.
But then I saw a psychiatrist and they're just like, that's your brain protecting itself from something bad happening.
Hmm.
So the more we know and the more educated we are on just the thought process and learning about neuroplasticity and how we can rewire our brain and things to do to help recover quicker from depression or anxiety, that way we experience less and less symptoms, the more proactive we can be, I think the better.
Yeah. We also need to get informed about supplements.
Yes. Let
Even if
me let
we
me let me just bring all my supplements out next time because
even
I'm
if we
so
forget to take them, like I forget to
really.
buy them, and then I forget, and then if I do buy them, I forget to take them. That's my problem.
Oh my gosh. I'll send you and I'll like remind you. Or maybe I'll start posting my supplements on my Instagram every morning like I do
I
my
have
morning
a
water.
mental list of like all these supplements that I need to get.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, accountability. Post it on Instagram
For
and then
sure.
I'll message you. Did you take your supplement today? Look into ashwagandha too. I swear I'm gonna
Okay,
be a
okay.
brand
I told you,
ambassador for them.
text it to me because I have no idea how to pronounce that or spell it. Thank you everybody for joining us and watching this episode. Please go ahead and like this video if you like it. Subscribe. Follow us on Instagram. We hardly post there, but for sure subscribe. Subscribe to this channel because this is where the real action happens. And I
The
will
real
post
action.
I will post all those links in the description. Thank you. Goodbye.